So my extension kit came in. So I have a Harbor Freight sawmill I bought, oh gosh, it's been 7 years ago at least. It was actually inside that's why it actually looks decent. It hasn't been outside for all 7 years, maybe the last 3. But, you know, everybody knows they don't make an extension kit for it, which I don't know why they don't. They could easily sell one if they did. And it wouldn't be hard to do. You just make another set of tracks. But I guess if you did add another set of tracks, it still wouldn't get you to 16 foot, I think, which is fine because I don't need 16 foot. Honestly, I barely need 10 foot, but this will only cut like right at 9, I think. But I get tired of setting a log on there and struggling to scoot it, you know, this way, even, you know, with the skid steer or something. Whereas now I can concentrate it on the middle bunks and start my cut between these middle two here. So I'll move this over to this bunk, and then I can still use that one if I need to, but I'll end up usually setting the log about here, and that way if I end up going long, then I got plenty of track to cut it on. So it comes with, here's the problem. So the track is the same height. I think it's 6 centimeter. So the Harbor Freight's actually a lot heavier duty. I actually had, after I seen the Woodland, you know, I was like, well, I wish I had bought that because it's not, you know, right now it's about the same price, but this has got a lot beefier track and it's actually quite a bit wider. So I would imagine the cutting capacity, well, I don't know what they're rated at, but whatever they're rated at, I can fit a much bigger log than this thing is rated at. So here's the bunk. You can see the difference. It's overall, it's just a lot smaller. Now the accessories actually do fit. This is basically the same. So it comes with one of these and one of the short ones for a cant, which is actually going to be pretty handy. I've been debating on making one of those, but now I don't need to. So the T-handles actually are the same. Actually, I already used them because mine I'd bent them. I hit them with a log, and these look like they're zinced a little better than the ones from Harbor Freight. So those will come in handy. But what I'm going to do is I already took this end off. So the two ends don't have the tube to put that in. So I'm going to take this one off, and I'm going to move it down one, and then I'm going to move this one to here, and then the one on the end, I already took it off. I threw it in the truck. I'm going to put it here. That way, if I need to cut a small log, I can cut it on right here, like if I need to cut a 5 or 6 or so. But any longer logs, it'll catch from here and come over to here, and I can skip that one. I won't need it. And then it did actually come with it's already up in the shop, but it came with another one of these, which will be handy. It's not near as heavy duty either, so it's just it looks like about maybe a 5/8. It's metric, but it might be 1/2 inch, 5/8, maybe 3/4, but it's probably not 3/4 inch solid rod that thing rides on. And it's just a solid stick. It's not adjustable like the one for Harbor Freight, but it's fine. It'll work as a secondary one. This one, you know, it's got the little T-handle here, but you really don't need it because it binds on there pretty good without it. Sometimes I don't even lock it. When you do that, see, it doesn't move, so it's fine. But so once I get those made, so that'll give me, basically, I'll have one more bunk to here, and then the two ends, I'll just cut some square tubing. I mean, a log never needs to really, this one on this end, the log never needs to set on, and same with the other end. You can't cut that far, so a log, if you got a log sitting on it, you can't cut it, so, because the wheels stick out, you know, looks like about 8 inches past that, so the two ends don't even have to be. I thought about making these fit, but there's not really much of a point, because, I mean, I don't need that, and it probably be just as much work to make these fit than it would be just to get, you know, like some 2-inch or 3-inch square tubing I probably got laying around, cut it. That's actually why I took the one end off, is I'm just going to take it up to the shop and, you know, use it as a pattern to drill the holes out and be done with it. The only thing I will have to do is, so this track, not only is this wider from Harbor Freight, it's the same height, but it's thicker too. So I want to say this is about 1/4 inch. I forget what the metric equivalency is, but this is a good, probably 2 millimeters thicker, which I think it'll be fine. The wheels will rub. It'll work fine. The only big thing is when I go to bolt this on here to hook it together, what I'll have to shim it down, the difference of thicknesses of this, because it'll match on the bottom, but when this bolts on here, it won't. If you try to bolt it on there, then it's going to pick the track up higher and you'll have a bump here. So but it should work, and then I'll bolt it to the ground. I got these all bolted on adjustable bolts, so you can level them and everything. And I'll do the same. I'll actually use the feet that came with the Woodland mills, because they're actually not too bad. I'll have to drill them out to get these concrete anchors to go through it, but it should be good. So it'll work. It's not cheap. I could probably, honestly, I could make it cheaper, but at this point where I am right now, I have more money than I have time. Not that I'm rich, but I am definitely time poor, so it was worth the extra money to make it the modification to get it to fit a lot easier. Let me get I'll take it up I'll go up to the shop and we'll see what we got to make that sucker, the tubing, to fit. So here's what I came up with. So I got a piece of 2-inch, but it's not quite long enough because it's bent, and the bottom apparently had water in it and it froze and exploded at some point. So I got enough to make one out of this, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and cut the ones from Woodland Mills. I'll just cut it and, you know, splice it together and make one out of that. So that'll make use of that. And then, so what I'll probably end up doing is just welding these on instead of drilling through this. I'll just weld these tabs on. I've got a bunch of these I've had for 20 years. I got probably 100 of them. They were for steel building, to bolt, you know, trusses, angle iron, double angle iron trusses or something. I don't remember, but I have a whole bunch of them. But I'll put 2 of those on each one, and I'll just bolt through that. This one I can use the holes that are already in these. This is a little thin, so I may end up thickening that, you know, reinforcing that a little bit, because I guess that's about it's about the same thickness, because these are, I wish these were a little thicker, and I've dented the crap out of a couple of them. This one, it doesn't even have see a log sitting on it, because it was at the end, and somehow I managed to dent it. So eventually I'm going to end up having to rebuild or add some metal D's to get them straightened back up. But here's the dog for Woodland Mills. So it's thicker than I thought it was. It's not as thick as the, you know, Harbor Freight. It's because it's solid. So what I think I'll end up doing, it fits in a piece of 3/4 inch pipe pretty good, and I'll just weld a flange on the end of this, and then that should attach good. So the dogs actually are the same threads and everything. So I actually took, because you can tell I took a chunk out of that with the bandsaw. That's been broken for quite a while. So I took this one. I like this handle a lot better. It's not as long, which actually works out better, because sometimes when I got a big log, this one's too long and I can't use it because it ends up interfering with the with the Sawmill. So I think this one will work a lot better. So it's the same threads. I'm just gonna use that. That'll be good. And then this one, I'll cut this off. And what I was looking at was just I'll drill this out 1/2 inch to fit this bolt, and then I'll just cut these threads off. I'll weld this on here, make this like a T-handle, weld that nut on there, and it'll be a T-handle, and it'll work perfect like it was designed. And so I'll use that as a secondary dog. So the Woodland mill's got these little plates here, so it's got hardware, which I'm guessing that's metric. Yeah. I may end up running, I've got some 1/2 inch bolts that are fully threaded. I'll probably end up using those, that way it all matches. Use those to level with 2, 4, yep, that's enough. I'll just have to drill these holes out. It's a little thinner than I'd like, but it'd be okay, it'll work. I'll just have to drill those out to 3/8 to be able to fit my concrete anchors. But otherwise, hardware looks pretty good. I think that's about all I'll have to do to get everything working. These are like the little splicing plates. They're made to go up underneath. Actually, I think they're supposed to go on top, but I'll use them underneath to get the bottom flush between the Harbor Freight and the Woodland Mills track. It'll bolt on the Woodland Mills, and then I'll just have to drill the Harbor Freight one out. May end up having to move that over, yeah, because it won't be able to bolt through it, but I'll figure that out when I get to it. So, all right, well, I'm going to get cutting. I'm going to go ahead and cut these. I think this was 29 and like 3/16 or something like that. I'm sure it's like a perfect metric measurement, but yeah, 29 and 3/16. So get that cut out, and I'll go ahead and get this cut down to do to the same thing. I'll cut enough off of this one here, and then I'll cut this one flush, and then I'll weld this part onto that part just to make a solid one and weld it all up. And then when I go to put it on, I'll just drill out the Harbor Freight. Actually, I won't need to, because these bolts will line up perfectly on the Woodland Mills. So look at that. So I'll actually have to get a measurement. I'll have to take it down there and bolt it on there once I get to make sure the bolt holes line up. I'd hate to, yeah, that'll work, because then I can use the hardware that came with that to bolt it up to the track that's already got holes in it. So that'll work out perfect. All right, well, I'm going to get bandsaw out and get to cutting. All right, so I did some wire brushing because that's no fun and nobody wants to see that. So I'm going to just kind of cut this where I feel like it's ending the expansion from the water freezing in there. Well, guess that means I gotta change the blade. All right, well, I've got some blades for that. I gotta track them down and change that out and get started on that. All right, so I looked for my blades, couldn't find any, so. All right, there we go. That should work. I need to cut. I really need to find my other bands. I got them somewhere. I'm gonna go look for them. See if I can find them. I gave up on finding my bands last night, made dinner, and this morning I knew exactly where they were. They were in my car. So I've got, so that's going to end up, that's ready to get welded up for the first bunk. I'm going to go ahead and make the plate. So to get the dog long enough, it needs, you know, just a tad bit, and I was going to use that pipe, that 3/4 inch pipe. So I'm going to end up chopping the threads off just to make it a little easier to weld. This stuff doesn't weld very good anyways. It's just real brittle, but it'll work good enough. And then I'll just trace this out, and because I don't have any thin flat bar, so I'll make my own. And I'll just cut that with the bandsaw. There we go. And I'll just punch that, and I'll drill that on the drill press. That's ready. Just cut. Just cut the threads off of this. I'm on the wrong side of the bench. That's not going to work. We're just going to hold it. I'm just going to grind the end of that off a bit to make it easier to weld. And I don't know where my Alright, so that's ready. That. So now it is time to cut this. And it is raining outside, and it's a walk down to the sawmill, so I'm just going to make it the same length. And if the holes don't line up, this stuff's pretty thin. I mean, it's like, it's probably might be a little bit, just a hair thinner than 1/8 inch. 11 gauge ish. I mean, it's metric, so it's not exact, I'm sure. So I am just going to need just thinking of how I want this to lay out, because typically the stake pocket goes, this is going to be the back bunk. I guess it doesn't matter, it's going to be sitting outside, so so this is the side we want to cut off. I guess we'll start with cutting this square, a little baby square that'll reach. Alright, so now we need this to be 19 7/8. And we needed it to be 29 3/16. So I need 10 5/16. All right, so this should be 29 3/16. And it's not, because my math sucks. How did my math suck on that? It's 30 3/16. Guess I'll cut another inch off. And that is perfect. So I had to end up using the angle grinder because the metal was so not flat. The belt sander really didn't do much. So set it up on my fancy welding table here. That's probably flat enough to clamp it to, and then I'll just get something that's flat. This bar was actually bent, but this one side is fairly flat.
So we will guess I should have clamped it down to sawhorse first, huh?
My gas solenoid keeps sticking. I didn't notice it till I ran out of a tank that should not have run out, and you know, I normally have my hearing protection on, so I couldn't hear that it was still running, but sometimes it just sticks. I'm hoping it'll just work itself out. Everything's crap. That welder's, I bought that new in '96, so it's a bit old. It's a good welder though. Had to replace the gun last year because it didn't wear out, but it bent, and it just, the liner got kinked. I ran over it a couple times with the truck, and I don't take care of stuff, so that'll work as one bunk. So while I got the welding table on here, going to weld this dude on. And I mean, if this isn't perfectly straight or anything, it doesn't matter. If it binds a little bit, it'll actually help it. So I'm not really going to care. Well, it stopped raining, but it's still dreary and wet, but I'm on concrete, so it's okay. So here's what I've got. I didn't plan on doing this when I set it on the cement pad. I just barely have enough. It'll fit, but so I'm gonna start by taking the bunks off. Actually, I'm gonna bolt that end tie. So I actually found some paint that matches pretty close. Well, the faded color. Once it fades, it looks like that color. It's a little brighter normally. So this, I'll just C-clamp this on here, drill it, and then I never put the plates on the last legs here because there's never any weight back here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these on. It's just I welded a nut to this, so I'll end up bolting it through. Once I drill that out, this will go down. I'll put a nut on it, and it'll screw into this plate. Plate will end up bolting down, and then I can use the nuts to level the sawmill. So which it's level right now. I've got one right there, so it's not far away. I'll clamp it on here just to keep this from moving while I drill it, but it probably won't anyway, as I said, because I've got it bolted, you know, every 30 inches, 2 feet, something like that, all the way down. I just had that scrap laying around, so that's what I used. I'll get that, and then I made this a few weeks ago. This will fit my water tank finally cracked, so this will fit a 5-gallon bucket. I'll just drill and tap that. Use some little short bolts right there, and it should clear. If not, I might have to space it off a little bit to clear these rods, but I think it'll clear it okay. So I'm gonna pull these bunks off because I said I've got to move the smooth ones, stagger them so that I can get the ones with the square tube. I should just go ahead and weld tubes on there, but maybe I'll do that later. I don't have time for that. So I'm gonna get that moved around, and then we'll have the pieces we need to get this finished up. So I got the bunks swapped around. So I've got a smooth one here that'll go in the middle, but for now, in order to get the tracks attached, I'm actually going to go ahead and bolt the one I welded up from Woodland Mills, because the holes line up. That way I can get these rails attached together while I work on this. Weird thing is I guess the end bunk for Woodland Mills is a little different because the holes don't line up at the ends, only right there, so I'm not real sure. I mean, one hole lines up on each side, but it's got 4, you know, these are oblong. They got 2 holes. You'd think they'd line up, but they don't. So they do in here in the middle. So I'm gonna go ahead and bolt these on here just to get the rails attached, so I can kind of get it leveled and start attaching the Woodland Mills rails to the Harbor Freight rails. What I'll do, and this is what I did to level it last time, so make sure this doesn't rock. There we go. Set up the rotary laser level, and I'll figure out what. So this is, center of the laser is right at 5, and it should be pretty much all the way around, because yep, that's how I did it before. So I'm just going to get this close. So I got the plates over here. So this, I mean, it's got a slight bump, but you don't even feel it. So I'm just gonna, we'll see how, we'll cut a couple logs, see what it does, but it seems to work. So I got this bunk's bolted on. I'm just gonna put one bolt in each side. Since I've got it anchored down to the concrete, I don't think I need to put all 4 in, because it's hard to drill out. I don't have a straight shot to drill those out, so I'd have to like mark it, pull it off, and I don't feel like messing with it. And these here, the rail, since this rail is you know, it's 6 by 6 instead of that's like 6 by, I don't know, 8 centimeters, whatever that is. The other hole won't fit anyway, so I'm just gonna end up putting one bolt there. And then there's only one bolt in the end as well, because they don't line up. But I said it's anchored down to the concrete, so we're good. I threw this dude in, worked good. So that's just kind of a, if I do any really long logs, probably won't use this too much, but it's good to go. So all I have left is I gotta bolt this dude down, and I gotta re-level it. I went through, and so the Woodlands came with enough nuts to go ahead and anchor the nut down to the base plate. So I did that on these 4. I didn't on those 2 because I'd have to take it all apart. So I said screw it. I mean, there's another bolt anchoring it to the concrete like 2 feet away, like less than 2 feet, so it'll be fine. So I just need to get this sucker drilled out. We're just gonna eyeball that dude. That's pretty much it. Actually, I've got to move that other dog down one bay. So there's actually a place to put it there, but I've got my bolt in the way that's anchoring it to the ground. So I'll use one of the holes, and then I'll just drill another hole. These look like they're 3/8 bolts. All right, that should be it. So, well, yeah, all I got left to do is I'm going to mount that tank holder over there. Not sure if I've got a drill bit for those for that tap, but otherwise that's it. So not too bad. Not sure. So I'm not sure if I do it again. I mean, I could probably go buy 2 sticks of, 3x4 angle, 5/16 thick, 2 20-foot sticks. But time-wise, this probably saved me. As I said, I have more. My problem is time. So, I mean, I would have had to basically re-drill all these bunks. I would have had to re-anchor the whole thing back to the pad, re-leveled the whole thing. So it probably would have been better overall, but you know what, this gets the same result, and it saved me quite a bit of time. This took me maybe a total of 5.5 hours, counting welding the parts together and all that stuff, and painting it and whatnot. So not too bad, but I'll leave a link to what I bought. There's the next size up. It's a shame it wasn't metric, but this is the smallest sawmill extension that Woodland Mills makes. The next size up, it doesn't use metric rails. It uses a 3" by 4". So it wouldn't work, because it would have been, it looks like it's more about this size, but it's not metric, whereas these are. So, all right, well, that's it. Anybody's got any questions, let me know.